Hello, I'm Belinda Johnson, Managing Director at Mindfull. Here with me today is Issy Fernando, Chief Design and Technology Officer from IBM. Hello, Issy, how are you?
Belinda, I'm totally delighted to be here. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. So if I'm having some great conversations, Issy, tell me a little bit AI and machine learning. What do you think is the future in the next 5 years?
Yeah, so AI is going to touch the wide spectrum of technology, and it's going to touch the wide spectrum of our lives. And there's two key things we're going to see AI do in the very short term. The first is being able to make sense of an organization's data. So being able to collect, organize, and transform that rich access to data that organizations already have, and being able to do that quicker and faster. The other thing that's really interesting to me is being able to use what we call intelligence blocks for artificial intelligence and infuse that into existing applications much more quicker than you're able to do so now. So if you were to look at how these two things come together, the concept of automatic AI becomes really interesting. Imagine a scenario we're able to give an AI system like IBM Watson access to some data. The AI system then automatically creating AI models out of it, and then you being able to ask questions of that data. In a planning scenario, we're able to simply ask an AI system what your forecasted spend over a period of time is, having access to historical information, being able to ask where your best-selling products might be, being able to look at your high-value customers and customers that might be able to churn simply by feeding data and creating automatic AI models. I think that really is going to move the needle for organizations in adopting AI in the very near term.
Fantastic. And do you think AI is going to help empathy into technology?
Absolutely. What we're seeing AI is really moving the needle on how people interact with technology. And when I have these conversations, I often tell folks to think of IBM Watson as an Ivy League graduate that they've just hired into their organization. You know, they come out of the box or just graduated with an amount of ground truth about a knowledge. And you train this AI system in that specific domain, in that specific line of business that you're in. And so when you're training something like a human or an artificial intelligence system, you naturally form this bond with an AI system. And there's an inherent need for us as humans to make that successful. And I think that's really interesting to watch. And of the many projects that we've done, we've seen this consistently over a period of time where folks rally around this AI system that they've nurtured and wanting it to be successful. So Belinda, you work with a number of really interesting, loved brands here in New Zealand. Tell me a bit more about what your experience is in a very practical sense with those AI conversations you're having in terms of planning with your clients.
So as in Mindfull, we do a lot of data management and a lot of planning. And a lot of my customers, we've been talking over the last few years around AI and augmented intelligence and what it means for local New Zealand business. And what we're seeing in reality, what's happening in our space is a lot of our customers have been talking about don't actually know where to start. Where shall I begin? Do I need to employ all these data scientists? Do I need to employ statisticians? What do I do? At Mindfull, we're very used to working in the planning space, and we love planning and budgeting, and we use a lot of the IBM tools to help our customers with that in this fast-changing world. That's what we're all about at Mindfull, is helping our customers make sense of this fast-changing world. So one of the examples I have is I've got a retail customer, and they said, where do we use this AI? And we said, let's start basic. Let's start with machine learning in your budgeting planning environment where we're very comfortable. We've got a lot of data. We've been doing it over the number of years. So we ran a very interesting pilot for them. We used the merchandise planners they had in the business to predict sales over time, over products, over stores. And then we used my team to use planning analytics to forecast stores, sales over different products. And then we used machine learning, and we used one of our statisticians to build them a model using algorithms, using Watson to predict all the sales. And we ran the experiment. And we, at the end of the day, after a few months, sat back down and said, let's have a look at the actual results. And we also used a Christmas period, which is very high volume for retail, as you know. And it was very interesting. So we had 12 people all around the room, that have a lot of experience in retail and planning. And we first looked at the merchandise planners. What did they predict would this store sell over this period of these particular products? And they were about 74% accurate. And then we looked at my team and planning analytics and using actual data that we had over the last few years, and we predicted it. And we were about 78% accurate, and we were pretty pleased with ourselves. And then my statistician, a very, very intelligent guy with no retail background, stood up, told us how he tuned the model, and he was 84% accurate. And there was silence in the room because you could sense from my customer that have years of experience in retail, how can this little young guy be more accurate? And it's an education process for the business that need to trust the numbers. So we had to have a lot of sessions around where the data comes from. How did he manage to do that? So that these guys with a lot of experience in business can start to trust the numbers. Now the discussion is around the implications of the machine doing all the forecasts and the business using the numbers to then execute. So it's empowering the people in the business to use the numbers to execute the plan as opposed to sitting there crunching the numbers. So at Mindfull, we're very excited about our planning customers starting to use machine learning to do all of your budgets and your forecast more accurate than we can as humans. And we as humans then taking the information and taking the actions and the plans from there. What do I now do? How do I execute this number? Or let me have a conversation with the business around how can we achieve this together? So we're seeing in a practical sense, our customers just starting to walk using machine learning in a finance space where there's great business rules, great data to start leveraging this predictive analytics to predict forecasts and budgets more accurately than we can.
Belinda, at Mindfull, you have a number of high caliber talent. And so what do these conversations look like when you're interacting with your clients? Do you lead in having an AI conversation? Or is it more around looking at the outcomes you can achieve and then surprising and delighting your clients with the use of artificial intelligence?
Great question. It's a great question. We usually, with our customers, we don't have a technology discussion. We usually have a business problem. A lot of our customers, we will engage with the CFO and the CEO, and they will tell us about a specific business problem they have and talk to us, how can they solve this business problem? What we will then do is go through a series of workshops and understanding what is the business problem, what's the implications of the business, and then we'll talk how can we leverage technology to give them a result they want. And usually we find with machine learning and AI, it just gets to that solution much quicker and also help us identify other ideas we didn't even think about previously that the data is highlighting for us, or trends that we didn't even think about could impact the business problem the clients are having. So we're really using the technology to solve these business problems that people have.
Fantastic.